On this edition of Our Stories, our focus for today is community. We'll be making history at one of the best diaspora restaurants in Ghana, Jerk Soul, where our diaspora will be honored and recognized for their hard work, enriching and empowering the lives of many, and promoting Black excellence in the continent of Africa, specifically Ghana. Mr. Judah, Akwaba to summertime. How are you feeling today? I'm feeling wonderful. It's a great day. It's good to be here with you. Thank you. Yes. Now, first, I would love to express gratitude for the fact of you pulling off the whole Diaspora Enrichment Awards, letting me be the red carpet host, and then surprising me by awarding me for Rising Star. You did not have to do that. Thank you.
I've seen this young lady on YouTube interviewing some of the biggest stars from all over the world. I mean, her poise, her pointed questions, her posture, all of that is just really situated for just excellence. I want us to recognize somebody, but when I bring her up, I want to give her a round of applause because she's not the future, she's the present. Young woman making an impact in the Rising Star category. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome right now as we recognize Rising Star Samara Osei Asare. We know the inside already won, but the outside won.
This is amazing, honestly. Thank you everyone for actually recognizing me. I was sitting over there, and when you started, I was like, wait, what's happening here? And am I hearing this clearly? But thank you so much, honestly. Thank you, everyone, for recognizing me, and I find that this is very special for me, honestly. And I appreciate you guys for being able to actually award me this. Thank you, Mr. Judah, for everything. Your restaurant is dope, man, and hey, have a good night tonight. Thank you, Mr. Judah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Congratulations. Congratulations.
No problem. You are a rising star, so there was some, there's respect due, no matter what age you are, if you're doing something impactful, something significant, there's respect due. So I just want to show you some respect. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Christmas Eve, we all joined to celebrate Jerk Soul's first annual Diaspora Enrichment Awards, where he was able to recognize all the diaspora that moved to the continent of Africa and be able to celebrate and honor them for their hard work. And through that, I feel like that means community because of everything that you've been able to do.
Now, how does it feel for you to be able to create this whole award show, especially for the diaspora?
Yeah. Well, it feels really good, because I'm a member of the diaspora. So I understand what they go through. I understand the ups and the downs, the trials, the tribulations, because I go through the same thing, right? And so since I know that, and I get to talk to a lot of these folks, I'm in a very interesting position because of the restaurant. I hear the stories of the diaspora. And so it really touches my heart. And so I really felt like I was in position to do something about it with having this type of venue. So I definitely wanted to reach out to everybody and let them know, hey, we're going to come celebrate us tonight.
Now, with all of this, where do you see your Diaspora Award show in the next 10 years?
The next 10 years? Well, the next 10 years, it'll be the 10th annual. Yep. But I'm really, really ready for number 2. I'm ready for next year. So if you missed this one, you shouldn't have. But you missed a very great event. Tons of networking, all of these wonderful, talented people. Man, I'm talking about everybody from culinary to social media to entrepreneurship, agriculture. We are doing amazing things here, okay? And so we're going to continue to do amazing things. Are you?
Yes.
I know you are.
You know what I see for the next 10 years?
What?
Your stuff would be so big that everybody would hear about it. Because you're doing an amazing thing for the diaspora, and I appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am. I agree with what you just said. So let's do it. Let's do it again next year. And everybody can reach out to Jerk Soul, JERKSOUL. You can come here to Jerk Soul Ghana at Oyarifa Mall. We're on the rooftop, just kicking it, having fun. The best food, the best view, the best drinks. Watch this. How good is my macaroni and cheese?
Excellent.
You heard it right here.
I would like to know, first of all, with your upbringing as a child, did you always have that feel of community around you?
I feel like I did because, I kind of grew up like a lot of Black families in America where, there might be 15 of us in a house, wow. And that house was my grandmother, Medea, her house, and so it was myself, my sister, several cousins, uncles, in my granny's house. And so, I had that community aspect. That was kind of like my first sense of, community as a kid. And then as I continue to grow, older, I've always had certain communities around me and I've been a part of certain organizations, community service organizations. But my first sense of community was at home at my granny's house.
Now let's delve into the most difficult times in your life. Did you have a great sense of community to help and lift you up?
Now, at that point, I would say no. When I went through a lot of the difficulties that a person can go through when you come from where I'm from, I had to do that alone. You know what I mean? I'm from the South Side of Chicago, and there's a lot of drugs, violence, guns, gangs. And I spent a significant part of my life indulging in those things. Really, the community part of that part of my life came in the form of a street gang, for about maybe 15 to 20 years. Whoa. And so, but, when you're at rock bottom and you're in organizations like that, you thought you had community, but when you go to jail, nobody's around. When you're trying to call, nobody's picking up the phone. You know what I mean? And so I would have to say that when I've been at rock bottom several times in my life. But during that period of my life, when I really needed some community, it wasn't around. But later, as the Most High allowed me to continue to grow and develop into, from a young man into a full-grown man, community started to come back into my life.
So during that whole time period when you were stuck in jail, can you remember how you felt at that time and knowing that the community that you thought was around you wasn't there to support you?
Yeah, you just feel lonely, right? And I guarantee that's what most of the brothers and sisters that are locked up today in America, there's over 2 million so-called African Americans that are in prison in America today. And so, they feel lonely right now, So I felt that I didn't spend significant time in prison or in jail or whatever, but when I was there, you definitely, you're on your own. You're on your own. And I understand because nobody else was around when I was doing stuff that I wasn't supposed to be doing, and so, community is so important, that when it's taken away from you, you definitely realize the importance of it, the importance of doing the right thing, the importance of, you yourself acting as community when somebody else needs it. You know what I mean? When somebody else needs a helping hand, somebody else needs some money, a good word, prayer. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, individually, we all have to assume that position where we collectively have each other's back. And no matter if it's financial, spiritual, emotionally, you know, all of those things, you know, we need that. You know, it's hard to survive without that.
Yes. And I like what you said there because that's very important to always have community.
Yeah.
And going on to my next question, being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart. It takes belief in yourself even when you don't have a great or a sense of community around you at all. So what was the process like for you becoming an entrepreneur?
You know, the process for me becoming an entrepreneur, I guess it was kind of birthed. Well, it was really birthed in the streets. But I was fortunate enough to come out of the streets and then, you know, get into college, right? Graduate from college. And, you know, of course, many of us, once we graduate from college, we want to get that, you know, that great job so that we can have the American dream, the house, the wife, the dog, and the white picket fence. You know, but, we start to pursue those things, and many of us, you know, fall short. But for me, when I got into corporate America, and I started making some bread, you know, I thought I made it, you know, and everything. And it was good. I learned a lot of things. You know, I learned in corporate America the things that helped me in entrepreneurship today. I teach my staff stuff that I learned in corporate America, you know, from America to Ghana. I teach them these things. So I've learned a lot that helped me in my entrepreneurship, right? And so I'll tell you this, my last job in corporate America was working for Oracle, okay, which is like the #1 software company in the world. And so I'm making 6 figures, I'm doing well, but I was kind of like a lion in a cage, you know what I mean? Because no matter how much money I was making, it didn't satisfy me in here, you know, and I fought hard to get that job. You gotta kind of be almost a genius to work for a company like that. They don't hire just anybody. They hire the best of the best of the best. And so when I got the job after like 10 interviews, after like 2 months of interviewing and just fighting for this job, and I knew that I was stacked up against some really, really top competition. But I'm the best. And so I ended up getting the job. And so once I got the job, it's crazy because after a year, I was like, man, I don't want to be here anymore. Whoa. I want to do my own thing, you know? So a lot of times money just is not enough, you know? Not when it's stacked up against destiny, you know? Destiny can't compete with money. And so my destiny was kicking in, you know? And so I was like a lion in a cage. I was like, I gotta break out of here and go be a lion, you know? And so that's what I did. I quit and I started my first magazine called Think Positive Magazine. That, you know, everybody thought I was crazy by doing that, you know, but they loved what I was doing. They love the concept of, you know, highlighting the positive things that are happening in our neighborhoods and in our community, right? You know, because so often you can turn on the news, the TV or whatever, and you just see a lot of negativity. And so what I was doing, I was like really just highlighting all of the good stuff that was going on with us. And so that was Think Positive Magazine, and I went from there into just becoming an author, an Amazon author and everything. And from that into a food blogger, a podcast. I was podcasting before podcasting was a thing. Think Positive Radio. Shout out to Miracle Media.
Yes.
You know, and so my entrepreneurship journey has been amazing. But I would have to definitely say that currently it's definitely taken a turn for the better. You know, I've had my hands in a lot of different things, from real estate to transportation to the culinary world. But when I got into the culinary world, it really started to take off. And so in 2017, I decided to move to the Virgin Islands in the Caribbean.
All right. Which one?
St. Thomas.
Oh, wow. Now, you want to know something?
What?
I'm part St. Thomas. My mom's paternal side of the family, St. Thomas.
That's right. That's right. I remember that.
All right.
I remember that.
Thank you.
You know?
Shout out to all my St. Thomas people. How you doing out there?
That's right. You know, shout out to all the islands, you know? And so, you know, I ended up moving out there from Chicago to St. Thomas. My girlfriend was there. And so what we did is we decided to start a small restaurant, you know, where the cruise ships come in. And so there's like these shacks over there. And so we ended up getting one of the small shacks. And so I'm just gonna sell some, you know, some desserts and some cool other little things that I had in my mind to the people coming off the ship. And so guess what happened?
What?
Probably about maybe about 3 months into me moving there, Hurricane Maria happened, which was a Category 5 hurricane. And it tore the island up, tore it up. I mean, the water was out for so long, the power, the internet, the airport, we couldn't leave. We were trapped on this island. And so, of course, I'm like, you know, whatever, it's cool. I mean, I've been through extreme weather before. Not a hurricane, but being in Chicago, you're going to go through some extreme weather. And so what happened was I was like, hey, you know, I'm just going to stay, you know, and just help the island to rebuild, you know. And so about a week went by and we're starting to, you know, get back on our feet on the island. And then Hurricane Irma struck. Everybody at home was like, come back, you need to get back to America. Everybody's just so worried about me. And, you know, even the people, you know, my community on the island, for some reason or another, they were telling me the same thing. Like, you should try to leave. Wow. You know, I was like, why they want me to leave?
Them of all people.
Yeah. And so, you know, I decided to continue the, just to stay there or whatever. So, you know, one interesting thing happened. I was at home and the next door neighbor, she came over, she pulled me to the side and she said, hey, listen, we have a boat. We have a small boat. And, you know, we can't leave the airport. So what we're going to do is we're going to go from St. Thomas to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico has an airport that's working. And so I'm like, okay, all right, cool. I think I'll try to go on with you guys. And so the next day came, I packed up my stuff. You know, I told my girlfriend, I was like, I'll be back. You know, I'm gonna come back for you, you know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna leave. And so, I ended up getting on this boat and literally we like floated over to Puerto Rico. It was about 30 of us on the boat. Wow. I mean, people was like, they hadn't had a bath in weeks. Like, it was really, really, it was like being a refugee. we were seeking refuge. So we were like refugees. And so I ended up going to Puerto Rico, right? And so at this time, the hurricane is coming. It hadn't hit yet, so I get to Puerto Rico, and now once I get there, I'm just kind of seeing the vibe on the island, and everybody's freaking out. Everybody's closing their businesses, and they're like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And I'm just like, wow, like these people live here, and they're really scared. I'm kind of foreign to it, even though I just went through one. And so I talked to my friend in St. Louis. She actually is the co-author of my book, Personal, Positive, and Professional, the 30-Day Challenge on Amazon. And so I said, hey, Danielle, this is the situation. I'm in Puerto Rico. Like, the storm is headed to Puerto Rico. And she's like, man, let me just go to work. And so she just was trying to get me a flight out of Puerto Rico. And so long story short, she got me on the last plane leaving Puerto Rico right before they closed the airport. And so I really didn't even know where I was going. I didn't talk to her about where the flight was going to or anything. But when I was about to get on the flight, I'm looking and I'm like, oh, St. Louis. I was like, okay. I've never been to St. Louis before, but sure. So she brought me to her hometown. And so I ended up getting on that flight. And of course, we know that hurricane really did a number on Puerto Rico.
Yes.
That's when President Trump, I don't know if you guys remember this, but President Trump had paper tiles, and he was just throwing them out into the, like that was going to soak up the hurricane water. But that was the same hurricane. And so I got to St. Louis. I was happy to be back in the mainland and everything. I immediately went to Chipotle, got me a bowl. And so now I'm homeless. I am sleeping on my friend's couch, and I don't know what my next move is because I've already sold everything. I've already left America to go to the islands. And so now I'm back in the States, and I'm like, man, what's my next move? So a couple months go by, I'm on my friend's couch, and I'm a grown man. I'm like, yo, I got to do something. And so I always still had that restaurant in my head that I was going to do in St. Thomas, right? And so I started looking for a restaurant space. I'm like, it got to be a reason why the Most High brought me back to America. So I started looking for a restaurant space. And on the third day, I found my first location, what ended up being my first location of Jerk Soul on the north side of St. Louis. It quickly became a staple in the city. It was new. It was new flavors. Jerk Soul is a fusion of Caribbean and soul food. Jerk Soul, right? And so, in a city like that where there's not like a ton of options, especially back then, that was like 4 or 5 years ago. It wasn't a ton of options back there. So everybody just took to it. And I just started getting so much media, like the news was coming out. Magazines, newspapers, podcasts, social media. It was just so much media coming every day not every day, but very often. And, to the point where our name really got out there heavy. And like I said, it became a staple in the city. And so 3 years into that, I start feeling the pinch again. Like I want to get out of America. Like I need to leave. And so, I didn't want to go back to the middle of the ocean anymore. I was like, I'm done with the hurricanes. So, long story short, the Most High told me that we're going to Africa. I said, Africa? What's in Africa? I don't know anything about Africa, because ever so often, like I said earlier, when you graduate college and you start making money in corporate America, you do start to travel, but we go everywhere but here. We go to more European countries. We're going to go to Italy, Greece, Rome, and see what's going on over there. And of course, when we get there, we're not treated right. you know, but we're in a new day and age though. You know that, right?
Yes.
We're starting to come here,
Yes.
right? And so when the Most High told me Africa, I was thinking the Gambia, because on YouTube, there was a lot of people, a lot of African Americans going to the Gambia. I was like, okay, maybe I'll go to the Gambia. But my good friend, Andrew Beeman, who has a new book out, he said, bro, Ghana is on the come up. I was like, oh yeah? He's like, yeah, bro, it's a lot of us going to Ghana. You should check that out. He's like, you a businessman. Check Ghana out. And so when I started to check out Ghana, I swear everything just started to unravel for me. And when I mean unravel, it's like a road was presented to me. A bridge was presented to me. And so I just went across that bridge, you know, and I was so beat up from doing Jerk Soul St. Louis. I was so tired because we were really, really successful, you know, and so I was very tired. And I said, I'm going to retire. I'm going to sell the business, all my businesses, shut down my real estate stuff. And I was like, that's it. I'm done. I'm never coming back to America. I'm just going to go to Africa, retire, and live there. That was the plan. So I ended up coming to Cape Coast.
Yeah.
It was so mind-blowing because I ended up living not far away from where we were originally taken from 400 years ago.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I'm just a kid from Chicago. I live down the street from the place that we were taken from 400 years ago. This blew my mind.
That's amazing.
Every day. So 6 months into me being in Cape Coast, my friends were correct. They said, you're not finna retire. They were right. Because the Most High said, we're going to Accra and we're going to go and open up Jerk Soul. And so I started to look for spaces, and eventually I ended up getting a small spot in Osu. And so now I'm ready to occupy the spot. And at the last moment, the owner says, oh, I can't give you this spot anymore. Why? Well, the owner of the spot wants to give it to his cousin now. I'm like, okay, all right, cool, whatever. And then I went to, it was a holiday where I met a whole bunch of people, and this sister from LA, she said, hey, I know about a new mall that has open space. You should go check them out. So I came to Oyariful Mall in Greater Accra, right before the Abri Mountains.
Yes.
And you know, before all this stuff was here, it was nothing. But the only thing that was here was this beautiful view of this mountain. And so when I saw that view, it was so awe-inspiring. It was just so beautiful. I was like, this is the space. You know, and you're talking to somebody who had a little carryout. I didn't know that the Most High had this on his mind, you know?
This is beautiful. Honestly, when I first came here, it wasn't just about food yet. It was just about the whole aesthetics and how you had situated it to face the mountain area.
Yeah.
And it's just a peaceful place to be. And then you got the food too. Amazing.
I love it. I love it. It's amazing. It's been a great journey. So I just wanted to kind of give you the background of, you know, when I started to dive into being a restaurateur. And so that particular story is still going on even right now.
Yes. Now, why was it important for you to create the Diaspora Enrichment Awards?
Sure. I thought that it was important because, you know, I think that it's important for people back home to know the ups and downs of uprooting and moving to another country, right? And so I know that there's a lot of us doing magnificent things here, 10 toes on the ground here in Ghana. And so I know the trials and the tribulations that they're going through, Because I'm one of them.
Yeah.
I'm going through the same stuff. And so, even though I'm a pretty self-motivated individual, sometimes self-motivated people also need a battery in their back.
Yes.
A hug, some love, right? And so I just wanted to show them some love. I'm in a great position because many of the diaspora, they come here. They heard about this guy from Chicago that opened up this restaurant and there's some soul food there. Let's go, right? And so I get to meet everybody and I get to hear their stories. I'm blessed because I get to talk to people like you guys and our stories are similar, right? And so I know that these kind of journeys are usually thankless. You don't get a lot of love. You don't get a lot of support. You don't get a lot of thanks. And so I said that I'm going to do something that's going to recognize the brothers and sisters that are here on the ground, lending back their expertise and talents back to the continent. So that's the reason why I decided to do the first annual Diaspora Enrichment Awards.
What I'd like to say again is one thing I really loved about it is the fact that you honored every single person that was honored for that.
Yes. Well, you know why? Because of community. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to do like the regular awards where, you might have 4 or 5 people in the category, then you pick someone.
Yeah.
Because we're all winners.
Yes.
And in America, unfortunately, we're used to competing with each other. So I said, at least this first one won't be a competition. Everybody's going to get acknowledged.
And I really appreciate that because you're acknowledging everybody's work because they all put in hard work. They all have a different but similar journey. And the fact that you were able to recognize that and do that for our diaspora, I really do appreciate that.
Yo, you rocked it. You did a great job. I knew you was the right person for the job and you just came in and killed it. So it was a magnificent night. And I know that we're going to talk more about it with Go Black. But thank you so much. Thank you, man. Everybody's just giving rave reviews about the night, but they really, 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 really enjoyed their moment in conversation with you.
Wow.
So thank you.
That means a lot to me because I was just doing my thing in the red carpet. I was having fun and being able to interview so many amazing people, being able to interview you. Mm-hmm. And honestly, by you surprising me with the Rising Star Award, that just made my whole night between the interviews and that. So
my job was done. If it made your night, my job was done. I'm good.
No, thank you.
I'm good.
I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you awarded Mr. Go Black to Africa.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's well deserved considering everything that he's been able to do.
Yes.
Now, we're going to go and catch up with Mr. Go Black to Africa.
Let's do it.
And find out why and how he feels about that.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, Mr. Go Black to Africa and Mr. Judah. Got you here together now.
Yeah.
So my question to you, Mr. Judah, is why did you decide to award Mr. Go Black to Africa?
Well, it just made perfect sense to me simply because that particular category was social media impact, right? And so I've seen and felt the impact that Brother Go Black to Africa has had on many people. I was one of I hear the same story everywhere, and it's my same story as well, where before I moved over here, I would be listening to him. I would get up I just told him this yesterday. I would get up in the morning, 7:00 in the morning, go shopping for the restaurant, bring everything to the restaurant and just start cooking for the city. All right. But I had him going on in the background. I'll set up my phone while I'm cooking and he would just, I would listen to his videos talking about Africa, not specifically Ghana, but just talking about Africa, right? And information that we all need to know.
Yes.
And so that helped me out in my transition and in my journey moving over here. Okay. And so, and it's the same thing goes for everyone that's in that particular category. Himself, Gabby Mack, people like Natural Ghana Girl, a lot of social media or YouTubers, bloggers, they help out a lot when someone's looking for information about a place that they've never been to. So that's the reason why. Now, I'm gonna also tell you this though, I had to tap him in because I not only wanted to show him some love because of the impact that he's having on the social media tip, but I also wanted him to deliver a keynote speech, okay? So he delivered this wonderful keynote speech to the people, and I know that a lot of people wanted to come and to hear not only hear him speak, but just to meet him in the flesh. And so thank you for doing a great job, sir.
Yes. Honestly, I have the same situation as you. We would actually use some of our family time when it came to the preparations and moving to Ghana. We would be listening to people like you. Like my mom and my dad used to listen to you nonstop. And then eventually we would get interested by it. My grandmother would get interested by it. And when we all loved it, we all loved to watch you. And when it comes to me and my brothers, if I say go back to Africa, they're like, okay, I have a few things. A, he's a man with a great intros.
Yeah, the best intro.
B, he always says, I'm your man and not your boy. And then C, when he starts, he says, let's go black to Africa. And he's like, yes. So honestly, we love to hear from you. We love to listen to you. Now, let me ask you a question. How did you feel that night when Mr. Judah awarded you?
You know, I initially kind of turned it down. I mean, I wasn't going to come, you know. And, you know, sometimes I get in my own way where it's just, I'm just, you know, out here doing a YouTube thing and I don't want to be in the limelight. I don't want to be, you know, that person up front. And, but, you know, everywhere I go, I run into people who see me at the airport, who see me in the city. And you know, and so, when I ran across a couple who said, hey man, you know, we saw you going to be the keynote speaker for Judah's, the Diaspora Achievement Awards. And I was like, yeah, but, I told them I wasn't going to do it. And they were like, oh man, we were going to come, man, because of you. And I was like, they was like, yeah. And I was like, well, how did you hear about it? He's like, well, he's got a flyer out. I was like, oh my God, he moved faster than I thought he was. So
Flyers are amazing too.
yes. And so one, I did not want people to actually perceive him to be dishonest in what he was advertising. And I did not want him to feel that heat or that brunt that people would come and thinking that I would be there. Like the couple I met, they said they were coming because I was on a flyer. So I had to really remove myself out of that place and really realize that what I'm doing is really impactful for people. And I hear it all the time, but I kind of downplay it. But I'm so glad that I did participate in it because it was a night that I will always remember. And I really didn't get it until that night. You know, doing YouTube, and I went real fast to get to 100,000 subscribers.
Yes.
It was really the perfect timing, the perfect storm, the COVID virus. And you know, because I'm political and I talk some things that I get strikes on a lot, especially when it came to the COVID and all these things and, you know, talk about other things and issues, I got a few strikes. So, you know, YouTube wants to give you these plaques if you get 100,000 subscribers.
Yes, you mentioned that in your video.
Well, I was exempted from that because of the fact that, or I didn't meet their qualifications because I had this so-called strike against me. And, you know, I thumbed my nose up at YouTube. But yet, you know, when I got awarded, you know, the other night, and I went and talked to my wife and, you know, she said, are you going to throw that away? Because I threw away all of my military achievements, all the medals, all the awards I received.
Why?
You know, I'm just not. When it comes to me and the Lord, you know, the Most High, that's my achievement, my greatest achievement, that I have. And I know there's a greater award that I received in the end. But when my wife said that, she said, "Are you going to throw that away?" And I was like, there's no way. This is going to be one I'm going to keep. Because number one, it was the Spirit that led him to do this. That was the Most High. The military only gives you awards and these things to keep you competing against each other so that they can have an elite force to go demolish and destroy. Yeah. He was doing this from the spirit of achieving for us to be built up as a people.
Let's together.
And so this right here is the award that I received was something that the military awards cannot compete against. And that's what made it special to me that night, as well as the people who really shared how I was impactful in their life. I'll never forget it, I'll never forget it.
Yes, that night was really special to me because to see that all of the people, they were able to share one comment there. They're being recognized and honored and being brought together as a group of diasporans and under great food, excellent music, and a good award show that really means something not only to you, but to your heart, to your mind, to your spirit, to your soul. And I think that that's the main definition when it comes to jerk soul.
Yeah.
That has to do with the soul. And the fact that you were able to accomplish that all in one night, beautiful. And going back to you, Mr. Judah, what was the preparations in creating the Diaspora Enrichment Awards?
The preparation. You know what? I came up with the idea. Well, the idea was given to me really just about 2 months ago. But, I like to just spring into action when I know that it's something from on high. And so I just sprung into action and I tapped my manager here at Jerk Soul, Miss Jangela Martin from Chicago, and I told her, what the premises is, what the ideal is, and, we just went into action. We started to alert the honorees for the evening, and that was amazing because, she did most of the calling up to these people.
Wow.
And, she would report back to me and she would say things like, wow, this lady was on the phone. She was just really crying and talking about how, she was just so shocked and amazed that someone wants to recognize her for the job that she's been doing, and so we heard it time after time after time after time. And that's what really made us be like, wait a second, this is getting deep. This is deeper than what I thought it was going to be. Like, this really, really, really means something to people. I had messages from people that wasn't even honorees. Just regular guests saying, I need this night. I need to find my tribe. I was on my way back to the UK. And I said, sis, don't leave just yet. Don't leave just yet. Just come. We all gonna love on each other. It's gonna be a family affair. Sometimes you need a family reunion, just to reconnect, you know what I mean? Especially when you are away from your blood family. We have to really, really start to connect with our Ghanaian family and our diaspora family here on the continent.
Yes, I believe that. Now, for you, going back to Africa, for you, what does the Diaspora Enrichment Awards mean to you?
What it means to me really is, it's enriching the soul. It's a rejuvenation of one's spirit. Because, like Brother Judah said, the sister that he talked to who was crying on the phone, sometimes we think we are out here by ourselves. Yeah. We think we put our heart, our soul, blood, guts, and tears into, our adventures, our goals in life. And we think we're on our own desert island. And for someone to say, you know what, we're going to recognize you. That's enrichment. That's what enriches the soul. That makes you go the next extra mile. Yeah. And, that's how it's like each time I feel like, okay, this is going to be my last year with Go Black to Africa. There's immediately, I'm talking about, I step out my front doors and sure enough, boom, wow. Go Black to Africa. Man, you don't know, man, the impact, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't stop doing what you're doing. Wow. And it's just like,
you can't never stop.
And that's just a confirmation from the Most High. It's like, I have you on this journey for a reason. And so, this enrichment is what was nothing more than, that filling the tank up, and that's what, the Most High put in my spirit to share with the people. Do not think for one moment that, whatever your endeavors are not going unnoticed. Don't think that, as small as you might think it is, or even as big you might think it is, that it has a powerful impact on people. And so it's not about me, it's about we.
That's right.
And as long as we understand it's about we, we're going to be doing powerful things beyond what we think we're doing individual-wise, so yeah.
Yes. Now, my last question to you, Mr. Judah. What is Jerk Soul's mantra or motto, personally?
Well, our mantra or motto is come in as guest, leave as family.
Wow.
Yes.
Now that is actually very inspiring. I was going to ask you what inspiring words do you have for your majority gate?
I might as well drop the mic.
Don't drop the mic before you break it.
But yeah, that's what we want. That's what we desire, and that's what we train our staff to. That's the kind of mindset that we train our staff to have, is to make everyone feel like a guest. I mean, when you walk through the door, you're a guest of ours, but when you leave, we want you to feel like family, So that's why it's really important for these types of episodes that you're having about community.
Yeah.
Just like what Go Black was just talking about. What are we really if we're just continually practicing individualism? Our people have been plagued by individualism for hundreds of years, and it's not really our fault. There's a lot of healing that we have to do, but the time is now. Other groups of people practice group economics. That's what we have to do now. We have to start to come together as family, as a group, and that healing process is going to be expedited, and we're going to continue to rise. And so that's why it's really important for these kind of conversations.
Yes. That's for you, Mr. Go Black to Africa. What inspiring words did you give to parents, children, and the diaspora out there that feel like, okay, I'm in Ghana, I'm tired. I don't know what to do. And I feel like I am at my wit's end. What advice would you give to them?
You've heard me say the Most High. Yeah. That's my strength and my source. I know that in this day and time, the Most High is not the most favorable word. It's not you're one that many want to acknowledge. And I understand coming from a system where they think they empower you with your education, that you can be your own strength, that you can, achieve your own goals. But the day comes when we really get tired, where we're going to find out we are not as strong as we thought we were. And so, for those people, I say, humble yourself and submit yourself to the greater authority, because then, that's where the power is. When you're tired, you seem like you're down and out. You seem like you can't get anywhere. Because I've been there. I've been there, and I've been in a really dark, deep place in my life. You know, you're looking at a guy who almost took his life. So until when I was in the darkness of life, until I came into the light. That's the Creator, the Most High. Since that time forward, I'm telling you, my life has never been the same, and I will never stop talking about the Most High, because I know that side of life that I was in. It, like I said, I almost came to the end of my road of life, but now, you know, it's, and I'm quite sure Judy can attest to this, is that if you're faithful, you know, all things are possible, and those things will be supplied to you. And I believe in that spirit of comforter, that spirit that can rejuvenate you. I believe in that. So that's what I would say to motivate and encourage the people, is that, you know, humble yourselves and submit yourselves to the Most High.
Thank you so much, guys. Your time with me was really inspiring and fun at the same time, and I really enjoyed myself. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We are telling our stories. Until next time on Sound Time.